I went to a convention quite a while ago, and there was a speaker who got up on the table and just stood there for a while. And after a while, she looked out and she said, "Have I got your listening yet?" So if we could settle down after lunch. It is my pleasure to introduce to you David Lauterstein. David has been a therapist and internationally known teacher of massage and bodywork for over 30 years. He's the author of the Deep Massage book and the author of Putting the Soul Back in the Body, as well as the composer of the music CD Roots and Branches. He's the co-founder and co-director of the Lauterstein-Conway Massage School in Austin, Texas. And for years, he has been a very prominent spokesperson in our field for the necessary unity of art and science, body and soul in massage therapy. I found a quote by Thomas More called Care of the Soul that he wrote, "When the soul is involved, work is not carried out by the ego alone. It arises from a deeper place and therefore is not deprived of passion, spontaneity, and grace." David embodies soul in his work, in his music, and in his life. I give you David Lauterstein.
Thank you very much. I thought I would first share my latest acquisition that is definitely an embodiment of art and science, as is our lovely profession. And this is, in this simple little case, this is my guitar. Now, is this cool or what? It was reverse engineered to fit into the overhead compartment on planes. So I'm going to show you here. This is the first time I've taken it on a trip, so this is the inaugural Alliance tour for my guitar. Look at this. Here's the neck. It's not broken. It's like, you know, the mind-body connection. So you have the head and the neck, and if it's not connected to the body, we're in big need of a massage. Don't you think? So watch this. Cool. That was out of place. Of course, I got to tune it about 4 or 5 times a week. I don't charge for that, though. That's right. Now, it's almost in tune, I think. Let us see. How's it sound? Relax, you massage therapists. Relax. I'd like you to stand up and partner with somebody. I'm going to lead you through an ancient ritual building on the principles of Ashman and other great thinkers. So what I want you to do is find your partner and get more than arm's width distance from each other. This is pretty esoteric, so keep an open mind. Now, what you need to do is go down, bending your knees, just like a Qigong exercise. Up and down. Inhaling as you come up, exhaling as you go down. Do that 3 times. And again, bring your awareness deep into your body, into yourself, and up. One more time. And now, I'd like you to walk toward each other. And you're not going to touch arms. You're going to let each of your arms extend beyond the person's body. So walk toward them slowly. Touch the fronts of your bodies together. Take your arms and place them on the person's back. Yeah. Yes, you decide. So, now this was a direct transmission. I think it was from Swami Beyondananda's the other side. And you can now teach it to your students, but you have to give credit to me and Swami Beyondananda. Now, if you're sitting, just take a moment to close your eyes, again, relax. Here we are at a massage conference. If we don't take the opportunity to really go inside and get personal benefit from it, that would be a missed opportunity. What a bunch of incredible people are gathered in this room. So I'd just like you to close your eyes, take a breath, and take a moment just to think about what massage means to you. What has massage meant to you in your life? How has it made your life different? How has it enabled you to make the lives different of those around you, your students, your colleagues, family members? And take that awareness of the feeling, real deep feeling. Obviously, most of us have devoted a large chunk of our lives to massage. That's a big thing. Take that feeling and allow yourself to feel it even more deeply. See how good it feels to feel really good. See how good it feels to really get in touch with that massage represents for you. And take a moment also just to acknowledge yourself for your devotion, for your hard work, for both the suffering and the extreme pleasures that have come from teaching, from doing massage, from learning, running schools. Just really take a moment to acknowledge yourself for your devotion. And you can open your eyes. It's good to know, isn't it? It's good to take some moments to acknowledge ourselves frequently. So I've been involved with massage for about 40 years. And in a great sense, it's been my life work. I'm sure for many of you, it's been the same thing. It means the whole world to me. And it means the whole world to you. And in some respects, this is what we're looking at is, this world of massage and the way in which massage touches the world. This is our destiny. This is what we've devoted our lives to. We want to devote our lives to the highest possibilities, naturally enough. So I think I'm like you. I remember a song by Kevin Moe, maybe some of you like Kevin Moe, Under My Skin. I'm just like you. So touch is an undercurrent for us. It's a deep, nourishing fact that's affected all of us to our very core. And doing massage, one can view us as working with three things, kind of three levels of health. On the one hand, we address disease, and I think of that with a hyphen as well as not. Namely that, so often clients, they have to have back pain to come see us. Oftentimes it's their excuse. So I'm always celebrating. You have back pain? Oh, great, you're going to come and see me, aren't you? So oftentimes the disease is their excuse. But of course, we address and we affect so much more than the disease, because the person walks out and they don't say, what one might say coming out of a doctor's office, this is great, I don't feel sick anymore. And that's the goal of a lot of disease treatment, to get from sick to unsick. However, on my tombstone, I don't want to say, he was unsick. I want to hear he was really well. We all want that. So getting from sick to normal is one thing, and getting from normal to being truly healthy is yet another thing. And we know that oftentimes that's the focus of massage, and that's why people come out of the massage treatment going, wow, I feel great. Now, I don't go to my doctor, who I appreciate deeply, and come out and say, I feel great. Could I come back next week? I'm sorry, Wall. So, we address physical dis-ease, we address injuries, we address the dis-ease that happens psychologically, there's stress, being beside oneself, and thank God for that, and the increasing competence, thanks to so many of you wonderful teachers, for massage therapists learning how to really basically treat diseases that respond well to massage therapy. And then you have a second level. You know, a lot of times people will have lower back pain and they'll come back and back and back and back. On the one hand, you're happy they're coming back because they are a bedrock of your income. And yet, on the other hand, you really wish that they would feel a whole lot better and that the effects might be lasting. But oftentimes the effects aren't lasting because of the disposition. And here we again can put a hyphen between dis and position. Namely, you have misalignment, so you have dispositional issues, postural issues that keep on causing their problems to recur. You have persistence of dysfunctional habits. How many of you here or your students have given people their homework to do and found that they consistently did not do it? Raise your hand. So the persistence of habit is baffling. Of course, it's a function of the nervous system. It's a little conservative. But we help recalibrate the autonomic nervous system, which is one of the places where people get into a lot of trouble. We give them somatic education, direct body to body. Not words, but more through touch. Ida Rolf said that people were walking around in random bodies. I think she meant that as an insult. Pointing her finger at another. What's that? What kind of a shoulder girdle is that? Get out of here. Well, yes, because we don't have wonderful physical or psychophysical education. Most people are psychophysically illiterate in this society. Our students come to us initially with a high degree of psychophysical illiteracy. I was working on a guy the other day, working up his back, releasing the ribs. He said, what are you working on there? I said, I'm working on your ribs. He said, oh, I didn't know I had ribs in my back. I love it. So persistent dis-ease points us to dispositional challenges, and advanced body work can help enormously with these. Finally, we come to the third level of health. This is the level of destiny. I want to see my clients fulfill themselves. I want to see myself contributing to them becoming the highest, most functional body-mind being that they can possibly be. And I know it's made an enormous difference for me in my life. It's helped me fulfill my destiny and help you fulfill yours. So think of your students, think of your clients. What are your highest hopes for them? What are your students' dreams? What do they come to you with those little expressions on their face? Oh, I hear massage is really good. You're here in school. Have you ever had a massage? No, but I hear it's really good. What do they want? What's more precious than our dreams? What is more precious than our dreams other than our actual realization of our fulfillment in work and life? Is what we all want. We want life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's in the Constitution. And as much as disease and disposition grab our attention again and again, we can't afford to lose sight of the ultimate goals of health. These highest goals that our students are manifesting, ultimately, we want to see them fulfill their human potential. And it's no accident that modern massage, coming from the 60s on, was rooted in the human potential movement. There's a funny term. People say, oh no, I've heard of the human potential movement. Tell me, when did human potential stop being something people should be concerned about? This was a mass movement that admittedly did explode, and a lot of it was due to the Esalen Institute and the other innovations in American massage. It's part of what Aldous Huxley called the nonverbal humanities. Esalen was founded for the study of the nonverbal humanities. It's important for us to realize that touch is and was at the very core of the nonverbal humanities. Human potential never goes out of fashion. People just sometimes lose sight of their higher goals. We all get busy, losing sight sometimes. Human potential is not a movement, it's an evolutionary obligation we have as human beings. We are the only animal that can self-evolve in one lifetime. It's incredible to realize that. How many other animals, how many eons of evolution it takes for major changes to take place. And yet for each of us, probably the step where we took into massage was an evolutionary step that you decided to take. And as a result of starting massage, my life has fundamentally changed as a result of what I learned in massage school. So how can the study and practice of massage contribute to humankind? Again, that needs a hyphen there. Humankind. How to be human, how to be kind. Make no mistake. We as therapists, as a community, have our disease. We have conflicts. We have political conflicts. We have legislative conflicts. We have philosophical conflicts sometimes. Sometimes we'll operate at cross purposes to one another. Sometimes the accrediting agencies will say one thing and the students will call for something else. Or one organization, God forbid, develops a little spat. That's never really happened very often in the history of massage. Because we're peaceful. But we do have dispositional differences. And increasingly, massage seems to range from the people who are really rancorous sort of individuals. Perhaps Facebook has revealed a little bit of that interprofessional rancor. And dissonance every now and then. And then you have the sickeningly sweet people. Are you familiar with any of them? For whom nothing is going to perturb them, yet underneath, it's like kind of an M&M with some strange fruit inside. Not quite such a treat. As therapists, we've seen them all. As teachers, certainly as well. There are scientists, there are the magical people, there's the mechanistic people, there are the thinkers, there are the healers, there are the researchers, the sports massage folks. But beyond that, we all know, and I think we all stand for this, that science and art are not opposed, despite polarizing arguments. They're an essential unity if we're to attain true health care. So when it comes to the destiny of our work, disease and dispositional challenges recede into the background. There's no question as to the essential role that touch plays in human life. And the fundamental fact we need to always remember is touch is the first sense to develop in the embryo. That means the foundation of every person's world is the sense of touch. The first communication medium is touch. The first place that the nervous system starts to develop itself is through touch. And so touch is the foundation of your whole world. And along with touch and along with what Huxley said, that's supported by the discovery that 93% of communication is nonverbal. 93% of communication is nonverbal. So, I proposed this talk. Pete or Nancy asked me to do this. Talk about, just talk about everyone. I said, oh, destiny is. What was I thinking? Well, I was thinking that this meeting is historic, and that we are, in many respects, arbiters of the next directions we take. And how can we optimize this realm of education? How many times have you been teaching something and you're saying this and you go, I wish the whole world could hear what I just said? Do you know what I mean? I mean, Because that again gets at the essentiality of what we're talking about. Again, it's not just touch, it's not just rubbing, it's not just orthopedic, it's not just dispositional, it's the foundation of your world that we're using as our medium. Whether it be the vital intricacies of the autonomic nervous system, the vast role of touch in human connection and health, the ultimate value that kindness and love plays or should play in our world. Teaching about the structure and function of the brain, teaching about the mind-body connection. Everybody ought to know about it. And this world is in danger. It's in danger of the lessons of touch being ignored. It's lovely for us to have our new age desires and hopes about what's going to happen, but we know there is horrible violence going on in the world these days. The income inequalities between nations and peoples is stunning. The sexism, the racism that we see, the diseases that run rampant amongst poor people and poorer nations, the devastation of our environment, not to mention Donald Trump. Patty Griffin sings, everywhere the waters get rough, your best intentions may not be enough. I wonder if we'll ever get home tonight. This is our home. This earth is our home. I'm here because of the urgency with which the lessons of touch, they're so desperately needed in our world. Sometimes it hasn't been, and it won't be easy. But the hardest thing is if we ever forget the evolutionary and the revolutionary role of touch. This touch that connects us. Loving touch is what every person in the whole world most depends on. We see the domination of virtual reality these days. We see the domination of the so-called STEM curriculum that entirely leaves out the humanities, substituting complete emphasis on science, technology, engineering, and math. I mean, leave humankind out of it. I won't go into too much detail. But we can see virtual reality has gained a tremendous amount of power. And I'm as bad at Facebook as anybody else, as many of you may know. And yet, we represent actual reality. Touch is the medium of actual reality, because touch is the only medium in the known universe where I can touch structure and I can touch energy at the same time. Touching structure and energy at the same time. Without touch, you can't touch structure. Without intention, you don't have energy. I wouldn't say I'm being touched by this table, unless it's a very intelligent table. Oh, well, thank you very much. No. But I would say that you're not being touched by your chair, but you may be touched by yourself or somebody near you. So that quality of touch to unite the worlds of energy and structure, this gives it evolutionary leverage. You know in your heart, you wouldn't devote your life to it, that touch is what we need, is this touch. To be in touch with ourselves, with each other, in our world, and in our businesses, and in the world as a whole. An essential and key element in all massage is education of the heart. James was pointing us in that direction. There's head education, there's heart education. If the heart isn't been educated along with the head, we are alienating ourselves from some of the most important things in the world. The message of touch is irreducible, it's irreplaceable. Let's join forces and make the biggest difference in the world that touch and massage can make. This is our birthright as massage therapists and as educators. It is our destiny to touch this world, both proactively and preventatively, so that the rule of human kindness gets to be a practice of all lands and all peoples. This is the only worthy destiny of humanity, only worthy destiny of massage therapists. It may not be easy, but it's our path. We need each other to walk down this highway, to stand by each other even when it don't come easy, to settle for less than the triumph of kindness is to abandon what makes us human. This isn't new age, this is common sense. Human destiny at its best is to succeed at individual and collective evolution to make the world a better place for all of us. We're walking down this highway. Is it a highway of despair or one of celebration and activation of our ability to consciously evolve? We need to fulfill this destiny, ultimately the necessity of peace on earth, the possibility that humans can make this world truly a better place. Starts to get simple, even if it seems like an unattainable goal sometimes. It must be our destiny to let touch teach us what we need to go to get there, to that place where humanity can genuinely say, job well done. May we touch our students with the wisdom of touch, and through our students, our clients, our union in the nonverbal humanities and in the sciences, so that our whole world, we can all get there together. When you break down, I'll drive out and find you. If you forget my love, I'll try to remind you. Stay by you. When it don't come easy. When it don't come easy. May your heart and your whole self be well. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, David. That was wonderful. So now we come to the part of the afternoon that is part of the big dream of creating the Educational Congress and inviting everybody to participate. And we have representatives from some wonderful organizations here. Sometimes we have a little bit of beautiful cohesion in our group, and sometimes we have a little bit of dissonance. And hopefully today our magic mistress of ceremonies, Ms. Warner, is going to help facilitate a little cohesion. Right, no expectations. So without further ado, Ms. Warner.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me? It says it's on. Oh, that sounds good. Good. Thank you very much, everybody. And I will let you know that this wasn't supposed to be me. Tracy Walton had hoped to be here, and stuff came up, and she was unable to join us this weekend. So I got the news just a couple of days ago that I would be moderating the panel with 10 different representatives from our profession stakeholders. So this is going to be the big fun. At this point, what I'd like to do is invite our panelists, please, to come up and find your spot. We're going to start from here and go down in alphabetical order. And if I can have maybe Pete come and give the PowerPoint a test for me, that would be great. And while our people are coming up and getting settled, I'll tell you a little bit about what our goals are here today and how we're going to be spending the next little while. I won't tell you how long because you'll leave. So, yeah, your figure's just that good, right? Yes, there is an alphabetical order. So we're going to start here, Bob, with ABMP, and then Jan with APAC, and then Pete with the Alliance, Winona for AMTA, Wayne for AOBTA. Next to Wayne will be Don on behalf of COMTA, and Karen Armstrong for the Federation. Geraldine for some, podunk little foundation somewhere. And then Lena with NCB and MK with Esparla. Is everybody here at the UIC? Are we populated? So while they get that sorted out, I will tell you that this is the structure of how things are going to go. Each representative of an organization has been given a sum total of 5 minutes. How many minutes does each of you have? 45. No more than 5 minutes. 5 minutes is the end. You can go ahead and sit down. You can stand. Okay. We need to scoot the chairs down. Oh, do we? Okay. All right. They're doing their thing. At the end of that time, then we'll just go down the table. So the first half hour or so of our presentation will be each speaker introducing their organization with talks of 5 minutes or less. After that time, we'll have about half an hour to take questions from the audience, and I'll give you some guidance about those questions in just a moment. Then we will take a long break, and then we'll come back and we'll do some more questions and answers. My job will be twofold. One is to make sure that everybody at the table has a chance to speak their piece, especially in response to your questions. And secondly, to help guide our questions and make sure that what ends up as a discussion topic here today is pertinent to our purpose. There are all kinds of directions this conversation could go, but the Alliance decided with eyes open. I can press the button. The Alliance decided with with specific intent that the conversation today, the questions from you that we would like to elicit, have to do with these things. How are these organizations helping us to raise our curriculum standards? How are these organizations helping us to raise school standards and oversight? And how are these organizations helping to raise teachers' standards? So you'll hear from each of these organizations about who they are, what they bring to our profession. And then what we really would like to do is hone in on raising the educational bar, and how each of these representatives of organizations here feel that their organization is contributing to that. Does that seem pretty clear? Yeah. Hello? Yes. Thank you very much. All right, so have we figured out what's happening with the PowerPoint? Am I going to punch it for you, Bob, or are you going to do it? You'll do it? Okay. The down arrow. There we go. Like that. Beautiful. So with that, I am happy to introduce to you my friend Bob Benson, who will introduce himself, I'm sure. Bob, Cliff over there has numbers, so you have no worry.
I only get 2 minutes.
Yeah, right. Okay, ready? Thanks, everybody, and Bob Benson.
We, each of us, can do more. We can each do more to support students, instructors, and schools, the very backbone of the massage profession. Is that better? Yes. We can help instructors advance their classroom skills. We can improve exam pass rates. We can lower practitioner attrition. At AFMTE, our motto is expect more. This simple phrase permeates our organizational culture, where we focus on anticipating the needs of our members and exceeding their expectations. A cornerstone of our education initiatives is a 19-year school visitation program in which our education staff travel to meet with school personnel to better understand their unique challenges. We listen to our constituents and make decisions with their needs in mind. In 1997, we began offering the AFMTE School Issues Forum at the request of school owners who wanted a well-organized format to discuss ideas and share learning. We're proud of our annual sold-out event, but we took this year off in an effort to support COMTA and the Alliance in their efforts to launch this gathering. AFMTE was also an enthusiastic participant in the formation of the entry-level analysis project. eLab inspires our education resources. We believe this history-making project is the backbone on which school curriculum can evolve. Another hit offering is ABMP's Instructors on the Front Lines workshop. The carefully researched and crafted content supports teachers in developing their instructional design methodology while providing free CE and a networking lunch. We were excited to pass the 4,000 cumulative attendance figure this year. ABMP is also thrilled that wise souls set aside historical baggage and agreed to rally around a single profession entry exam, the MBLEX. Recently, we received reports from numerous schools that pass rates are dipping due to changes related to adaptive testing. ABMP supports the FSMTB in its desire to protect the security of its test bank and ensure that people entering the profession can meet a reliable standard. However, we acknowledge that 3 out of every 10 test candidates fail the MBLEX on their first try, and that many never retest and so give up on a career in massage. Failing the test is a crushing personal blow. And as well, it's a big problem for that person's school. That's why I am really excited about a resource solution ABMP recently birthed. ABMP Exam Coach is an interactive, web-based program that students can use as a study tool during their training program, but more importantly, to prepare for the MBLEX. We purposefully compiled over 2,400 terms, their definitions, and audio pronunciations to support all students, but especially those with English as a second language or those with learning challenges. Fun-to-use features like flashcards, over 6,000 of them, with unlimited quizzes, help learners over-prepare for the MBLEX and build their confidence. Actual practice exams closely simulate the MBLEX experience. Our goal is that people who use ABMP Exam Coach say, I've got the MBLEX. We think this is a game changer for exam pass rates. If you're a school owner, how could you not afford to invest $75 per student to maximize each student's chances of passing the MBLEX? Coming next is ABMP Student Life, arriving in your inbox this September. I won't go into details, but simply say that I think ABMP Student Life is an equally important game changer. We believe every student who uses it will have a richer, more complete massage training experience. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bob. Well done. All right, our next speaker is Jan Schwartz, and Jan, I can never remember what ACAC stands for, so will you please not only introduce yourself, but also your organization?
Yes. I'm not sure what it stands for either. Academic Consortium for Complementary and Alternative Healthcare is what ACAC stands for. We're a little bit of an outlier here. One reason is I left my cheat sheet in my briefcase in the back of the room. And the other is, so I'm hoping I remember what I need to say here. And the other is because we represent more than massage therapy. Massage therapy is one of the 5 disciplines that ACAC has as member organizations of its board. And the others are acupuncture and oriental medicine, chiropractic, direct entry midwifery, and naturopathy and massage therapy. So there are 5 licensed CAM disciplines. And we're working on changing our name to drop the word alternative, because we're really not an alternative to anything. We are more integrative and complementary. So we're working on that piece now. So ACAC was a project of IHPC, which is the Health Integrated Health Policy Consortium, back in 2004. And then in 2005, with the National Education Dialogue, we met as a group and determined that as complementary integrative healthcare practitioners, we sort of needed to get our own act together and speak in one voice to try to get allied health to be more accepting of who we are. And so we incorporated in 2008 as a 501c3. And we have as members of our board people who are representing the certification boards, the accrediting boards. That's where we started, was mostly accrediting. The councils of colleges, as ACAC calls them, that includes the Alliance for Massage Therapy. And we also have members of the board who are in emerging professions in the United States, people who haven't yet achieved good licensing through most of the states, or who haven't achieved specialized accrediting. And that's what we're looking at, is specialized accrediting boards. We have, I think we've made a huge impact on allied health in this country, because we have been able to sit at a lot of tables that we would not have been able to be at as only massage therapists, or only acupuncturists, or only chiropractors, etc. But because we can speak with a unified voice now, we've been involved in a lot of things, from the Institutes of Medicine to the National Keen Strategy. We've published a book called The Clinicians and Educators Desk Reference to the Complementary and Integrative Healthcare Professions. We have developed competencies for integrative practice, and we have developed something called the Center for Optimal Integration. And that's a project that I was particularly interested in when we first started it. We have two projects that are happening under the COI, as we call it. And one is the project to enhance research literacy, and the other is the project for integrative health in the Triple Aim. And so we call it the Pearl Project and the PETA Project. And I'm on the advisory committee for the Pearl Project, so I know a lot more about that project. But we have a resource online under Center for Optimal Integration for anyone who wants to use it. It's open access, it's free. A lot of the information comes from those larger multidisciplinary universities who had R25 grants several years back, who were looking at ways to enhance research literacy. So there are syllabi on that website, there are some lesson plans, there are general resources, articles, things that you can just go and grab if you want to develop research literacy courses or interprofessional practice courses within your institution. So basically what we're looking to do is to have all of our disciplines, massage therapy included, be part of a healthcare team, which is what collaborative practice is. And so that encompasses a little bit of the Triple Aim, which is about care, experience, and cost of healthcare, and giving patients and clients the right to make decisions about their care. And so what we need from the field of massage therapy is to step up a little bit in terms of standards. But without it,
Yes, indeed, I can. My name is Pete Wittridge, and I am the president of the Alliance for Massage Therapy Education. The Alliance is a voice, advocate, and resource for massage educators, CE providers, and teachers. Our long-range project is the National Teacher Education Standards Project. We are in phase 3 of that project, developing our core curriculum for teacher training so that we have a curriculum plan for teachers, groups that want to begin to use that. based on our core curriculum and our core competencies. Our biggest fan, and I want to just put this out there, is Angie Meyer has taken up some of the core competencies and begun with the Max Knowledge, taken that competency and created a module. Our goal is that every competency has modules, every group has open source to this, and we would really encourage each of you as school owners, teachers, continuing education providers to look at the core competencies, use those standards to hire your people, to train your people, and to help educate every aspect of massage education, from graduate level down into entry level. We are board members with ACAC, very involved with the PETA project, very involved with the Pearl project. I'm really glad to see Deb Hill here. The collaboration and the organization is very dedicated to working cooperatively, working collaboratively, trying to join forces to move every aspect of massage therapy forward, whether it's in the legislative aspect, in the classroom, or as far as licensure. One last piece that I would just like to acknowledge is you're all in this room. That was one of my projects.
Hi, I'm Winona Bontrager. I am a past national president of the American Massage Therapy Association. I'm also a school owner and teacher for 25 years at a very small middle school in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So some of the AMTA background, we are a not-for-profit association. We were founded in 1943 and have always worked to advance the profession of massage therapy, to create a solid and consistent education for therapists, and to have fair and consistent regulation to protect both the consumer and the massage therapist. Our mission is to serve the AMTA members while advancing the art, science, and practice of massage therapy. And AMTA's vision is a future where AMTA members are devoted to professionalism and excellence in massage therapy practice, where quality research is the foundation for evidence-informed massage therapy education and practice, and where massage therapy is easily accessible. We have a strong commitment to our massage therapy schools, our teachers, and their students. Those of you who are here who may be AMTA school members know firsthand how we support you, your faculty, and administration with tangible benefits to help you to be successful as you move to attract more potential students. We also have an online school resource center that's available to for teachers and students to use. We hold a special Teachers Day and Student Day at our national convention each year. And our annual school summit has become a vital part of our interaction with schools and their educators. That's also a place where we share our annual professional report that has information on sort of the state of the union, the state of the profession, and how it affects our schools. AMTA supports its practitioner members by expanding their knowledge through quality education and helps to foster a community in that way. AMTA is not just about profit, but about supporting the profession and giving back. In the past 2 years, AMTA has given away more than $100,000 in student scholarships. We are also the largest supporter of the massage therapy research and give nearly $500,000 each year to the Massage Therapy Foundation. Each year we release several research roundups to the media, healthcare organizations, and massage therapists to show a wide range of research on the benefits of massage. So just want to thank you all for coming. And am I zero? No, I'm good. Thank you.
Hi, folks. My name is Wayne Mylan. I'm the Managing Director for AFMTE, which stands for the American Organization for Bodywork Therapies of Asia. When we got the invitation to attend this event, we were pretty thrilled because in a lot of ways it seemed like the right place at the right time for us. And I have to say, since being here, we feel very comfortable here. The theme is collaboration, which is what we're all about. The keynote speaker has been energy medicine, which is what we're all about. And we're meeting in the Meridian. So a lot of this just feels really right. I'm not even quite sure that I'm not at an AFMTE conference. So AFMTE, we represent Asian bodywork therapy professions. Right now, we have 15 formally recognized separate Asian bodywork therapy professions. Our vision is to support Eastern philosophical approaches to health and well-being by promoting ABT. Our mission is to provide our members with educational and networking opportunities and to support their personal and professional development and success. 2015 happens to be our 25th anniversary. And AFMTE was really developed out of collaboration. What happened 25 years ago was the various separate Asian bodywork professions and professional membership organizations decided it was time to collaborate. And they actually were able to pull that off and combine themselves into a single membership organization. Part of the structure that was created 25 years ago, which was actually, in my opinion, quite brilliant, was the founders created a pretty highly developed structure for ABT education. It was built right into the professional organization. We have a peer review process for assessing and approving instructors. In fact, here last night, we just approved 2 new certified instructors of ABT. We have a Council of Schools and Programs, which is a membership level, but what that basically is we identify schools and programs that are teaching the entry-level minimum standards of Asian bodywork therapy. And we have a formalized process for that to recognize these schools. And we also have an application and review process built into the system for formally recognizing an Asian bodywork therapy profession. Because there's always things evolving. New forms or old forms are coming forward. And we have a way to recognize, because we started out as we still are, a group of separate professions. So it's been very important to us what qualifies each of these professions as being separate and what we all have in common. So we have a formalized process for what you need to do to qualify as an ABT full. So a lot of this has been built into our structure from the very beginning, and we're actually fairly proud of it. Our current goals concerning education, to educate the wider community of massage and bodywork professions about our educational standards and structures. It's a big reason why we're excited to be here. The reality is we have our feet in 2 worlds. One foot is in the Chinese medicine world, the other foot is in the massage and bodywork world. And for a good part of our existence, we've been paying attention to our Chinese medicine community. And we've really felt at this point in our evolution that it's time to spend more time getting to know the massage and bodywork community and start efforts there. Other goals, to reach out and identify those schools and instructors that meet our standards or might meet our standards with a few easy tweaks, and help them offer full-fledged qualifying Asian bodywork therapy programs. And we're seriously exploring the development of some formalized online education options as a community. So my time is up. And thank you very much. We're very happy to be here.
Can you hear me now? Good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to reintroduce myself to you again. My name is Dawn Hogue, and I have the privilege of serving as the chair for the Commission on Massage Therapy Accreditation. Within that role, I'm also really proud to represent the perspective of a massage therapist, an educator, and an administrator. The mission of CAMTA is to elevate the standards for quality education. And I was sharing with my fellow commissioners earlier this week that I consider us ambassadors of education, representatives of standards, quality, and competence. A little history about CAMTA. CAMTA began as the Commission on Massage Therapy Training and Accreditation. It had 2 A's, COMTAA, in 1989 when it was created by the AMTA. In 1999, the name was officially changed to the Commission on Massage Therapy Accreditation. We dropped 1 A, and so we are now COMTA. In 2002, we received our recognition from the United States Department of Education as an approved institutional and programmatic accrediting agency of massage and bodywork programs. And in 2004, CAMTA officially became independent from the AMTA, and since that time has expanded its scope to include academic and occupational associate's degree programs, as well as aesthetics and skincare programs. As an agency that's recognized by the United States Department of Education, we are gatekeepers for Title IV funding for schools who are accredited by CAMTA. And we're also very proud that we are the only specialized accrediting agency for massage, bodywork, and aesthetics programs. As Jan was mentioning, ACAC, focusing on specialized accrediting agencies. So that's a status, again, that we are very proud to represent. Some of our major accomplishments over the last few years, I'm happy to have a nice little list here to share with you. First of all, we revised, within the last year, in fact, our standards for programmatic and institutional accreditation and made those standards distinct for each track, depending on what direction your school wanted to go, what suited you best. And that really has made it a much more user-friendly experience from the school side. Along with those revised standards, we revised our self-study report, again, making it a much more user-friendly process, much more efficient, less redundancy, and that's wonderful from the school perspective. We also have an online submission system. So CAMTA and our processes are completely paperless. Everything is done online. So again, that makes for a very efficient process. And for the school, you can really take responsibility for providing all the information that we're required to provide to the agency. Yesterday, we spoke quite a bit about our new status, which is called the CAMTA Endorsed Curriculum. And that status will launch a little bit later this year, but we're proud to announce it and share more about it here. CAMTA Endorsed Curriculum has been created as an alternative for schools, for whatever reason, don't want to, can't afford to, aren't in a position to be accredited, but are providing quality education and want a way to recognize that and market that to prospective students. So this endorsed curriculum is specifically related to your school curriculum content, as well as your faculty and instructor qualifications. We feel that's one way that we are improving the quality of massage education, as well as really serving a need in the profession. We heard a lot of feedback that, again, accreditation, and I hope to dispel some of the myths while we're here today, but it might not serve every school depending on their situation. And so we're very proud that we are serving a need in our professional community with this new status. One other major accomplishment I want to share is a research study that was published in the International Journal for Therapeutic Massage and Bodywork. It was published in 2014. It was conducted by Martha Menard. Her question was, does accreditation improve the quality of education? And her study proved that yes, it does. It does, in fact. Although the evidence did show that the education is inconsistent and less than adequate in some situations, but clearly accreditation does improve the quality of massage education. And at CAMTA, we really feel like our curriculum competencies and a competency-based approach is at the core of how we can improve and create consistency. Thank you.
I'm Karen Armstrong. I'm the current president of the Federation of State Massage Therapy. FSMTB's mission is to support our member boards in their work to ensure that massage therapy is provided to the public in a safe and effective manner. The FSMTB is unique in the sense that our members are the state boards, not individual practitioners. Your state board is the FSMTB, and the goal of every state board is public protection. For a little bit of history, the FSMTB is still really in infancy. We're celebrating our 10-year anniversary this year. So in 2005, 9 state boards, along with several industry leaders, came together to create the beginning of FSMTB, really to serve the needs of the regulatory boards. Now, FSMTB does not regulate or mandate any state board, but we offer support and tools to the state boards. We're quite proud of our accomplishments in the short 10 years. Now, the MLEX, the sole licensing examination, remains our flagship program. The recent agreement with NCB-TMB was to bring uniformity to licensing standards and improve portability for therapists. We expend resources and take action, including litigation, to protect the integrity of licensing examination and the reputation of the industry. Next up was the Model Practice Act, which was released last October after multiple public comment opportunities. The Model Practice Act Task Force dedicated more than 5,000 hours to that project. Now, we're actively creating a massage therapy database, lovingly known as Matilda. The database will help to track therapists in ways of disciplinary action and maybe address trafficking. So that's in the process now. Based on direction from our member boards, the FSMTB is developing a license renewal program. One option of that project will include sponsor-approved program for license renewal. The standards have been created by the regulatory boards, and this too will feed into Matilda, or our database, once that's complete. FSMTB is currently formalizing a school liaison program, which will focus on communication regarding MLEX and regulation with schools. The FSMTB maintains an active social media presence, enabling us to update the regulatory agencies as well as the public with FSMTB development and news affecting our industry. So what does the future hold for FSMTB? Well, many of our projects are ongoing, like the MLEX, and many are in creation stage, like database and license renewal. But we continually review our strategic plan. And this year we're meeting with member boards to create a strategic plan for the next 3 to 5 years. So the future of FSMTB will remain true to our mission of supporting licensing boards and services for best practices for protection of the public. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Geraldine Cameron, the president of the Massage Therapy Foundation. I just have to say how happy I am to be here. One of the things that I always notice as being vastly different from the conferences, research conferences I'm used to going to, is that there's a lot more hugging here, and there's guitars, and there's ohms, and it's very comforting to be here. And I could tell this morning when I introduced myself that there was a lot of love towards the foundation. So I really thank those of you who support the foundation. And I'd like to ask, how many of you have been involved in, as a board member, a volunteer, or somebody who donated to the foundation, to raise your hand? See, there's just, thank you so much. I appreciate that. We're here for you, and we really stand for 3 different things: community service, research, and education. So we give out research grants on an annual basis. We also give out community service grants on an annual basis. But the thing that I think you might be most interested in is some of the education things that we have to offer you as educators. So as I was thinking about what might you be interested in hearing about, I thought, well, definitely the journal. How many of you have heard of IJTMB, which was already talked about? Yes, so the International Journal of IJT, Therapeutic Massage. I always have to think it through. This is an online, free full-text journal. meeting. It's all about massage therapy, and you can access it for free. And so it's a scientific research journal that is indexed in PubMed, and so it's searchable on PubMed's database, and it's all about massage therapy. So we do have actually our editor here, Karen Boulanger. You want to wave, Karen? She's one of our editors. Karen. Whitney Lowe has been one of our editors in the past, and so if you're interested in submitting a research article or even an education article, please feel free to talk to Karen about how does that happen. Now, as an educator, I just want to let you know that you can log into IJTOB and you can get free emails anytime there's a new article that's released. So a new issue comes out, you'll get that in your inbox. So I encourage you to sign up for that, and also encourage your students to read the journal. If reading research sounds too daunting, which to some it does, we've tried to come up with other ways that research is a little bit more palatable, perhaps. And I don't know how many of you read Massage Today. Right, yeah. So everybody gets that. And so in that, we have Massage Therapy Foundation writers for every issue that comes out of Massage Today, talking about a research article and putting it in a little bit easier to understand terminology and kind of giving the clinical bottom line of that. And so if you're interested in, gee, what should I talk about in my classroom, you wouldn't have to revise your curriculum. You could perhaps start using the articles that are based in Massage Today articles in the classroom. We also have something called Research Perch. This is a newer program that we have. Have you heard of Research Perch? A few, less. These are podcasts. And so you can get them on your computer or you can download them on MP3. We have Ruth Warner, who's one of the people that do the Research Perch, along with Nikki Monk, who's another one of our editors for IJTMB, and Michael Reynolds. And what they do is they pick an article and they just talk about it. And so it makes it much easier to understand because they're using normal terms, and sometimes they'll ask each other, now what does this term mean? And they just actually talk about the research article in a more understandable way. And so I pick out these things trying to encourage you as instructors that there's lots of things that you could be doing in the classroom, and we're trying to help you feel more comfortable doing that by perhaps listening to a research perch before actually taking it to the point of, hey, class, let's, hey, hi, Ruth. What's up, class? Are we done? Oh, I'm done. Okay, thank you. I have 31 seconds. I'm sorry. I'm going to take it. I have 31. Sorry about that. One last thing is we have case report contests as well. So if you're a school that actually has your students writing case reports, or you want to learn more about how to write case reports, please take a look at our website, massagetherapyfoundation.org. We have a 5-part free webinar series that we produce with AFMTE, and it's something that helps you know how to do that. So please feel free to ask us more questions. Goodbye.
Do we carry you across the stage? Just gonna hit the down arrow.
The down arrow?
Good afternoon, and hello, educators. Hello, educators. Okay, you're out there. Fantastic. So my name is Leena Gupta, and I'm board certified in therapeutic massage and bodywork. I'm an NCB TMB approved provider and the chair of NCB TMB. This year will be my 25th year practicing massage therapy, and I also serve on the ACAC board. chosen today in consideration of this being an education conference focused on collaboration, it seems very fitting to consider how do we continue to live our mission of raising education standards. And we do this through board certification. Board certification is the highest voluntary credential in the massage therapy and bodywork profession. And it enables us to develop a career path, starting with entry-level licensure, advancing to greater competencies and skills through board certification, and ultimately specialties. For example, just like in other professions, in cardiology, a physician would become licensed, to complete their residency and then fellowship, and they would become board certified not only in intervention cardiology, sorry about that. I'm just speeding up the whole program here. So not only in intervention cardiology, but the American Board of Cardiology, the American Board of Medicine, the American Board of Radiology in the last few years have rolled out a number of different board certifications. Now a person could be board certified in lipidology, electrophysiology, nuclear cardiology, echocardiography, vascular medicine. And so we are paralleling the healthcare professions and attempting to change the culture to raise the standards of education. But as a volunteer-driven organization, we cannot simply do this alone. So we're very open to hear from you as educators that what are the needs that you have in terms of advancing the standards of education, and how can we really live our highest role and mission by serving the profession in that way. On another note, we have an approved provider program and over 2,000 approved providers. As the central administrator of continuing education, we are improving our process of reviewing courses and instructors. And we continue to build relationships with our assigned schools. You can visit our booth later, and we have our latest school video and other key resources that you might be interested to receive. In other news, we have partnered with iTech, a London-based company in central London, actually West London, who is recognized by the UK government as well as 40 other countries in specialties in massage therapy and bodywork. And we've had a number of our assigned schools going through the process of becoming an iTech registered school to be able to offer specialties. One of the first schools to go through this process was the Sarasota School of Massage Therapy, owned and operated by Joe Lubau. And we are also working with organizations, hospitals, and basically we're finding that people are coming to us to partner with us to develop specialties, and that is, in my opinion, the natural evolution of raising the education standards. So finally, I have a number of people to thank for our transformation over the last 18 to 20 months. I think I personally approached every single person on this panel, either to go to their board meetings and speak about board certification and elevating the standards, or to gather them on conference calls. And I'd like to thank all our volunteers, our board of directors, and our magnificent staff in bringing our dreams to reality, and ask you to help us to go even further to serve the profession. Thank you so much.
I'm M.K. Brennan, introduced myself earlier as the president of the Society for Oncology Massage. We are the new kids on the block, and it is an honor to be part of this group. We started in 2007 when 150 practitioners and 20 educators
who had an interest in oncology massage came together for our first summit. From then, those intelligent, dynamic individuals came together, created a 501c3, so your contributions to us are tax deductible. They set an education standard. They also created a way of having recognized educators. So we have 24 recognized educators across the nation as well as internationally that will be providing education in oncology massage, because our main purpose is to make sure that our oncology patients and survivors receive safe, effective massage therapy. In the coming years and months and days, we're going to be looking at even expanding ourselves more. The grass is not growing underneath our feet. We have a new regional outreach program where we are working to build communities regionally so that oncology massage therapists will be able to network with each other, expand our mission, and work on getting more education out there, not only for massage therapists, but also for cancer patients and survivors and healthcare providers. We're also looking at developing competencies for oncology massage. We feel that it is very important to get that word out, that cancer is a challenge for individuals and that not every massage therapist is going to know what really is needed for that cancer patient or survivors. What are the cautions? What are the treatments that person's going through? When is the good timing for a massage related to the treatment that they're getting? There is a great deal that needs to be known about working with this special population, and that's our goal.
Thank you very much. We are now going to open the floor to take some questions. If you look around, you will see there are, I believe, 2 microphones. One up here right behind Sandy, and they're another one back there, yeah, where Stephanie is. So we'll be taking questions from people at the mics, and I have a couple of requests. One is that those questions be asked in the form of a question, rather than as a statement of opinion. That can be very valuable too, but let's save that for a different venue. And also that our questions be directed to our points of focus today, which is about addressing educational standards for our field. And I can hardly wait to hear what our first question is.
Before we start, let's be sure that Stephanie monitors the HUVA if there's any questions that come through on the HUVA.
Great, thanks, Stephanie. And if they do, then you just sort of take place in line at a mic, all right? Okay, so we're going to start with Sandy, and then I'll go back to the back.
Yeah, this question is to Jan. What is the criteria for a profession such as massage to have in place in order to be eligible for ACAC? And so you mentioned the accreditation and that sort of thing. So what organizations do we need to have as a profession in order to move forward with that organization?
Thanks, Cindy. We actually, in massage, have those organizations in place. So at our board table right now, for certification, Lena is a board member. For the Alliance, it's Stan Dawson. For COMPTA, it's Dale Healy. And I am one of the founders of ACAC, so I get to be there as long as I want. And I'm on the executive committee, and not as a board member, but Mark Menard was just appointed a co-executive director. So massage therapy is very well represented right now.
The National Certification Board is
From the mic, please.
The National Certification Board and Board Certification is a necessary component then of our eligibility.
Yeah, it's about the discipline. There aren't individual members of ACAC, there are organizational members. And so when we first started, it was what integrated health disciplines are licensed or are going for licensure and have some history of licensure in the United States. Another is that it has a specialized accrediting agency representing it. And then we added the certification and testing organizations.
Thank you, Jen. That was a pretty clear-cut question for you, so I won't ask for commentary from the rest of the panel at this point, but that might happen. Jill, would you like to step forward with a question?
Yeah, thank you so much for doing this for us and for your service. So my question as a small school owner is about how the questions for the MLEX are developed. Originally, I was under the impression that the ELAP was a model because the Federation was promoting the ELAP. And I've just come to learn and understand with several of my colleagues that the questions are actually developed from a job task analysis. And if that's the case, aren't we in danger of testing our students on outdated material? I'd like to hear from anybody up there. Thank you.
Let's start with Karen and then if there's one.
Great. The job task analysis help create or...
Excuse me, I'm going to interrupt you, Karen. I keep hearing a phone go off. Could we please take a moment to silence our phones?
Thank you. Sorry, Karen.
That's fine. I'll reset your timer.
So the job task analysis helps create the content outline, but not the actual items. So we have item writers, which there's probably several in this room today, that will submit the items to exam development committee reviews them. So that's where the actual items are coming from, but the content outline is based from the job task analysis.
Jill, do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, I do. I don't understand then really what I, as a school owner, should be doing with the ELAP. I mean, I personally have just revamped my entire program around the ELAP recommendations. And I know that I shouldn't be testing my student or training my students to pass the test. However, it's just a little confusing. Should we be developing our curriculum around this job task analysis or around the ELAP?
Well, FSMTB supports the ELAP, and in fact, we reference the ELAP in our recent Model Practice Act. So what's in ELAP is what FSMTB recommends to our regulatory boards.
Okay.
Thank you. Do you have a follow-up on that, Lana?
Oh, I guess I concur with her. I'm confused too, because what my students are coming back with, it's not anywhere for entry-level students. I mean, most recently, they've been coming back with some pretty interesting questions that I don't know. Yeah, so I'm confused right now with that test.
Thank you, because I'm really confused. Big question mark on my head over here, right here.
Karen, I'm going to give you another shot to untangle this a little bit, and if we don't get there right now, I'm going to recommend a conversation to follow later so that we can continue with other questions around raising our standards. Go ahead.
So with the item writers, they'll reference books, and many of them are listed online and in the student handbook, but we don't dictate which textbooks they can use, but all the items are referenced. And then that list online or in the candidate handbook is updated every year. So the books that are listed in the candidate handbook are the most commonly used, although there's others as well. But the exam development committee is comprised of subject matter experts, many that have been in the profession for years, possibly authors, many instructors, but we include entry-level therapists as well. So we're really getting a cross-section of many different therapists reviewing those items.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other comment on this question? Great, thank you for your question. Well, oh, good, thank you.
I saw the mic open, so I came over. Does the Federation plan on putting out any kind of test prep?
I'm going to keep this microphone right here for a minute. We do, and we're working on it. We hope to have it out late summer, early fall of this year. We were very close to having it done before we went into litigation and needed to pull back. So we do hope by fall that that will be available.
I have a question from the WUVA app. Okay. For the panel, what are any of the organizations doing to enhance federal or state lobbying efforts to increase health insurance coverage for consistent massage therapy services?
Here's one open to the whole board.
Well, on behalf of COMTA, as an agency recognized by the U.S. Department of Education, we are prohibited from lobbying specifically. So I'd have to defer to my fellow panelists to answer that question further.
Well, that answers. So it's a challenging question because of who can lobby and who can't lobby. And ACAC cannot lobby. However, we do work with other organizations who can. And so IHPC is one of those organizations who happens to be in Washington, D.C. and on the Hill all the time, really advocating on behalf of all of integrative health and medicine, including massage therapy. And Jan Kahn was instrumental in getting the Affordable Care Act language together for non-discrimination. She's just one of several. But so that there is work being done, but it's challenging sometimes for organizations who want to do it to not lose their 501c3 or even C4 status. You have to just be very careful. But there are people out there working.
Thank you. Anyone else want to add to that? No? Good. I don't see anyone at the back mic yet. So Randy, would you like to?
Yeah. We keep hearing more and more about clinical integration of massage, and I keep hearing the term healthcare. And I guess my question to the panel is this: from a business perspective, as I've seen over the last 10, 15 years, our penetration into the insurance reimbursement market and actually into mainstream healthcare is we're getting our foot in the door. But I guess my question to the panel is what is your goal for improving that penetration and expanding that penetration? That's not a good word to use, is it? Sorry.
That's a good word.
Who has something to say? All right, let's do Geraldine and then Lena. Okay.
One of the things that the foundation is trying to do to help you integrate into other healthcare arenas is make sure that people are more research literate, because the research language is really the common language of the medical profession. And so making sure that you're aware of any new research articles that come out and what exactly does it say and those types of things is something that the foundation is really trying to help the profession with, even to a small scale, and just continue to build up. So that's one thing that we're trying to do.
Can I lead that up with another question?
Not yet, because we have two other people up here who want to speak to your question.
Well, just as I said earlier, one of the goals of S4OM is to educate healthcare providers. And the number of our practitioners are working in infusion centers as well as hospitals that are recognized as part of the healthcare team. And we just look to expand that.
Thank you. Okay, Jen?
And as far as ACAC is concerned, one of the big things that we're working on is interprofessional education and collaborative practice. And so to become part of healthcare, we as massage therapists have to know how to work as part of a healthcare team. So what do other healthcare providers provide and what can we provide? So how do we integrate those two things? And with the project for enhancing research literacy, there's some really exciting proposals on the table where people are actually coming to ACAC and asking, how do we get this interprofessional education to happen? And I think you might hear more about it if you go to Deb Hill's panel tomorrow, or Saturday, sorry, about that kind of integration and what massage has to do. I mean, all of us as professions have to do our own educating, but are we educating our students on how to be part of a healthcare team? And if we're not, we need to be, because it's going to be required to work on, in hospitals and with special populations.
And if I could just add to Jan's comments and put on a different hat, I'm on the hospital-based massage therapy work group of ACAC with Daryl Healy and another person, and we are working on developing competencies for hospital-based massage therapy.
One more, anything else?
About 3.5 years ago, an organization that came to me called the Coalition came together of leaders of many of the groups represented at this table and some others. And we sat down and started talking about priorities and the universal desire to achieve the outcome you're describing. But as we had a conversation trying to figure out what the first priorities were, one of the things we felt was that we were lacking in some of the respect from these other organizations that Dan refers to as part of ACAC. A lot of that lack of respect had to do with the inconsistency in the quality of entry-level education. And that's why that emerged as a top priority, followed by portability. And one of the things we've learned, the test project that the Alliance birthed here, they were wise enough to say at the beginning, this was a 5 to 10 year project, not something to be done overnight. Similarly, it took a couple of years to develop the ELAB project, and it sits there awaiting sort of translation into curriculum and then adoption by widespread schools. We've had FSMTB include ELAB as guide in their Model Practice Act, but they can do that, but as was pointed out earlier, Karen, they can't mandate this for states. Individual states are going to decide if and when to change standards. And some of them are starting to have that conversation, but they keep looking for, well, I can't lay this on school owners if there's not a practical curriculum that they can use utilizing the principle. So a lot of these things do take a long time, even though we may subscribe to the general goal you described.
All right, Randy, let's hear your follow-up.
Is there then possibly, from anybody, more interdisciplinary continuing education where we're seeing physicians, nurse practitioners, physician assistants, and other of the healthcare team members working with us to learn to work with us, or getting more information about massage, evidence-informed decision making?
You go, and then. Okay, Janice and
So there is another organization that that ACAC is partnering with, and that's AIHM, Academy for Integrated Health and Medicine, which is a fairly new organization. It's sort of went through a transition, and one of the, I had a conversation with the executive directors, co-executive directors, just the other day about including massage in that organization. And so they're looking at developing some interdisciplinary kinds of courses, programs, and even a fellowship. The challenge for us is to be able to give them the criteria for those massage therapists who have the competencies to engage in those continuing education activities.
One more thing that deals with integration and just trying to let others in other healthcare professions know about massage therapy is working with them through research. And so you'll learn this is my bandwagon, this research. But one thing I want to let you know about is that every year we get a significant amount of funding from AMTA, and part of that funding goes towards research. And we've decided to put some money towards meta-analyses in order to look at the wealth of information that we currently have in terms of massage therapy. And so we've been working with the Samueli Institute. Now, on the Samueli Institute group, we have massage subject matter experts. We have a couple of them here. We have Jan and Pete, and also Chris Deary, and Ruth and I were there. But they brought to the table pain experts, and they were all military medicine. And they couldn't believe the amount of research that we had in terms of massage therapy. And they were so excited because these military folks said, you know, we're tired of giving people prescriptions for narcotics. We want to find something else that might work. And so we have 3 meta-analyses that will be coming out dealing with all types of pain, surgical pain, and cancer pain. And they're very excited about it and want to take it to military medicine. So we feel as though, again, that trying to get in through multiple different types of doors, with research being one of them, is a wonderful way to go.
I would add to that, Geraldine, the work is great and we have so much variable outcomes that one of our challenges as schools and educators is that we need to teach our students to measure outcomes and to have the ability to actually communicate what they've done in their research work, in their case reporting, and in any kind of experimental work that they're doing.
Thanks. Okay, so we're going to go with Lauren and then with a lady whose name I don't know. So that's the next order. So go ahead.
Hi. So thank you guys for being up there. Karen, you'll be glad that I'm not going to ask anything about FSMTB. Because I love FSMTB now. So my question is actually, and maybe get your produce ready because I know this is not a popular thing, but I'm not sure that it helps us to pretend that it's not happening. So I'm curious your opinions, any of you, about, there's been some discussion about sort of a 2-tiered system emerging within massage therapy. And the one tier being service-oriented and sort of working with healthy people, and the other tier being the healthcare-minded folks. And there's sort of this idea that nobody wants that, and it's just happening. So I'm curious if there's any movement within any of your organizations to sort of look at, okay, not everybody wants to be healthcare, and it's slowing the progress for the people who want to be healthcare. And as my wise friend Ruth Werner once said, there's always going to be a place for the single mom doing massage in her basement for healthy people. And I certainly don't want to be the guy who stops that from happening. At the same time, that person is fighting tooth and nail to say, no, we don't want insurance, we don't want to be part of healthcare. Meanwhile, that's what I stay up every night worrying about. You know, yesterday we were talking with the franchise folks, what keeps you up at night? That's what keeps me up at night. And watching the franchise folks talk yesterday, it makes a lot of sense that a lot more people are getting massage now, and they're getting it through that model and through other models. And I don't want to stop that. And to get that penetration that you're looking for, Randy, we need to decide what we're doing. And I think we're doing different things, and I think it would really serve us to admit that we're doing different things and to work in that way.
Who wants to field this? You want to take a start at this?
I'll take a start at this. You know, our mission is always to serve our members. And as you might guess, when you have a group of more than, 300, there are people doing massage in their basement, and there are people that have been working at Northwestern University Hospital for the last 10 years. So, that's a conversation that's happening, and we're trying to support, folks, because we have to do that. So, thank you for the question, and yeah, I mean, it can be a challenge, but I think that I think that we're doing it.
Lauren, I really appreciate your question. I'm a regulator, I'm a compliance officer, I'm a massage therapist. One of the things that I appreciate about Lena and the NCBTMB is that future specialty certification. We have a field where we have a very low entry, and very many people come into this field without very high educational standard. They don't have a bachelor's degree. Some of them barely know how to read. So the concept of a tiered aspect is very interesting, and I have been a massage therapist for half my life. That means I'm 54. And I think that this is a school issue. The school owners, many of them, and I'm saying this as not a school owner, but knowing many school owners, that they are resistant to such a thing. So it is within the industry discussion And how do we have that discussion? I think one of our best vehicles would be to have specialty certifications and not call it tiered licensure, but to have a valuable entry-level education that may not be at that 500 or 600 hour level, but more of a clinical focus after you've actually gotten that kind of hours. Whitney Lowe is sitting in the front row, and I think that competency-based education is one of our most important aspects as 21st century teachers. My fellow board member, Eric Polgar, and my wife, and Sue Bivick, were talking about this. He doesn't like to sit in the classroom and hear what the teacher wrote from their book as a lecture. He would much prefer to read that material, test of that material, and then show his skill from that material. So I think as a field, we've tried to be too much of an apprenticeship. Come see how I do it. I'm the guru. And what I would really encourage us, if we're going to go down that regulatory way, is to look in terms of specialty certifications and say, the base level is this, Society for Oncology Massage has this, and then you would have your own creation of super special, extra special, and whatever the next is. And yeah, and I would say that to Wayne and the AFMTE, any organization, whether you're in athletics massage or polarity therapy or Jinshin Jitsu or whatever thing you're saying, that we would really look at, these are specialties, this is the next level.
Thanks. Bob has been waiting, and then Lena, and then I'd like to move to the next question.
I think there's a positive and a negative model here at issue. The positive model, which I endorse, is basically what Pete just described, where there is a base level and then we encourage pursuit of specialty certifications. The negative model is a tiny, lesser level of education for people who are doing just service massage and a higher level for others. And as an organization, AFMTE supports raising the bar for education quality for all people, those who are going to pursue a career of basic service massage. And that's why we put a lot of energy into the ELAB structure and why we engage in other activities. I think that's a more positive approach to say, don't be satisfied with a lesser level of education. Let's raise it for everyone. And then on top of that, encourage those who want to explore additional agencies through specialty certification.
Thanks, Lena.
Thank you for your question, Lauren. I think it raises a number of issues and very relevant ones. First of all, it shows to me that one word, like tiered, can have a very different interpretation depending on the context and the person using it. So I see the word tiered in terms of entry-level licensure, which in many states may be 500 hours, an advanced skills and competencies level, which in our case is the board certification that requires 750 hours of education, and then an advancement to specialty certifications. What concerned me in your dialogue is that it seemed like there was a separation between moving in the healthcare and medical realm would almost prohibit advancement of many other modalities. And each and every modality has its own place within our profession. And our profession is so fantastic because of that diversity, because we have tens of thousands of people who have a variability in interpretation. It enables us to have a therapeutic impact that sometimes we can research, but other times there are inherent aspects in the therapeutic relationship, just like when you meet someone for the first time, it can take 5 to 7 seconds to decide if you like them. Now the question is, Does that fit into the model of a double-blind controlled trial? And that's what I mean. Everybody has their own interpretation, and that's the beauty of our profession. But there are many things that we don't yet know, and I think what's very essential is that we recognize those, as you have in your question, that we come to a common understanding, and all the organizations up here, as well as everybody in attendance, is all contributing so that we can truly have a bigger, better, brighter future, of which healthcare and medicine is only one aspect. But it is one aspect that has held us back in many other ways, in terms of being accepted with hospital-based massage therapy, in terms of interprofessional and interdisciplinary communication. And so it's one area where the obstacles and the politics and just the hospital dynamics are so high that we are investing some time and energy. It in no way, shape, or form takes away from any other modality. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Lynn. I want to also really appreciate our people who are standing in line so patiently and tell you, please remember where you are, because what we're going to do now is actually take our break. We're not done, so remember where you are. And I saw a picture on Facebook about how they do this, I think in Hawaii, which is they just leave their shoes where they are. How long are you taking this break now? 20? All right, 20 minutes. 20 minutes. How many minutes long is this break? All right, we'll see you soon.
That really makes you better cry.
Here's a harder as well. Remember, we were across the
You might have to decide to fight for the that last 30 seconds. So I was thinking about you after I did it.
You did a great job. You're two presidents and saving stuff.
Honestly, it was not a priority.
That's so soothing.
A lot of projects.
Yeah.
Because I heard it again after we were talking, somebody else was talking about it.
Economics looks like. I don't buy that.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of education that's not properly giving attention to what is going on with economics.
Because the head guy in there, Stevenson, is the one that's like, he's the one saying, you know, that. On his side.
Okay.
He's the one that teaches this. How to save that one. He's not saying, yeah, he's not suggesting that the crowd from $50,000 to try to find out. So I know you want to. I'm just hearing this for the first time. It's like, whatever, and then you can charge for the video. It's contact money.
Well, this is Bob. I'll figure out sitting right here, 2 and 7.
Maybe I'm wrong here. I'd be interested to hear.
I'm having dinner.
Okay.
I'll ask you.
Thank you, Bob. It is nerve-wracking. Right,
so,
right.
Trying to hold the mic up as I check the button.
Oh, God.
It was difficult to say.
I'm glad that you got to, share your new programs. And,
I got through the
right, well, and I love also what you have to say about that. So, I'm so proud of you. And I'll tell you what else, my new edition comes out at the end of this month, my new pathology edition, and I have made the whole thing and I've used that taxonomy and I've named it teaching ancillaries and I've structured it in such a way that it's, it's easy to fit and I really want to do what's in my power to open up that path.
It's, I tried to say here, we want everything yesterday.
Yeah, right.
And this is exactly the sort of thing that one hopes to spur.
Right. Well, and publisher, I'm happy to say, the new acquisitions guy was sitting in the back of the room listening to us talk. Because he was asking me last night, where's this thing going? So.
And you're not alone. I mean, it's terrific that the Federation
incorporated it
front and center in their model practice.
Right. But the Model Practice Act is in itself sort of a different picture. It's fine to write the act. That doesn't mean that the states are going to use it.
That's right. Trying to get state legislators in. Why do you want us to revisit this? What's broken?
Yeah, what's right, exactly right. Or we worked so hard to carve out this little bit of real estate for massage therapists. You want us to? Yeah. Well, it's a lively discussion, which was the point. Yeah.
And we're not done.
No, we have another hour.
Hey, Jan and Geraldine. Can we have the panelists up at the table, please?
Ruth Warner has spoken. Ruth Warner has spoken.
Oh my gosh, we did it. All 10 panelists are back. So I'll just speak for a moment as people are coming in and getting settled. You can hear my voice push in at your head.
Sorry.
My phone alarm is going off. We actually are doing quite well for time. I'm going to talk very softly so that only the people who are listening can hear this extremely important information. You know, I mean, honestly, the hardest audience to corral is teachers. Oh, yeah. I used to sing in a choir that was almost all teachers. And I mean, there were spitwads, there was note passing, there was, it was bad. So we're going to resume and we're going to start with the mic at the back of the room, and then we're going to be going back and forth just to give you a heads up about what's coming. We have a little more than an hour left in our time, so I feel like we've been using our time extremely well, and I appreciate you for that, and I appreciate all of you for that very much. And if you were watching very closely, you might notice that they're not back in exactly the same order. And that's because MK and Karen have decided to switch jobs, so they are now going to be representing the organization. Now, it's because he is a member of S4ON, though. Oh, that's awesome. No, it's because Karen needs to catch a flight, and so she's going to need to duck out right at 5:30, and we're still in conversation. She didn't want to be disruptive, so we just did that to make it that a little bit easier. So at this time, I'd like to invite, I just learned your name, Barbara Helen. Is that right? Pretty close enough? Awesome. So thank you again for your patience, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. Aloha. My name is Barbara Helen Hurd, and I'm from Washington State. I practice and teach Manalomi, which is a form of massage that integrates both treatment massage and general well-being massage. So my question follows very well on the previous question, and it is, in the process of raising standards, what are your organizations doing to protect and maintain our options, our privileges, and our legal rights to practice massage outside of the medical setting? The background for this question is that the Washington State Board of Massage has recently drafted but not yet approved rules that restrict or that around draping and breast massage that make it pretty near impossible to include breast massage in a well-being massage. I could tell you the specifics of their proposal, but generally it's really tightening it up to make it more of a medical thing. They're also have suggested or drafted rules that require chart noting for all massages, and the level of chart noting that they're proposing is consistent in what I'd expect to see in a hospital. So it's like, oh, I'm a little overwhelmed. So my question again is to you on the panel, what are you doing to protect our options for those of us who would prefer at least sometimes to work outside of the medical setting, to be able to maintain the freedoms that we currently do to practice. And in Washington State, it's currently optional Well, you have to have professional draping, but what that means can be decided between the client and the practitioner, and breast massage is allowed. Thank you.
Barbara. Would anyone like to step up to that?
I would just make the comment, the Alliance for Massage Therapy Education is not a regulatory agency. We believe that all practitioners should have the right to practice the type and style and form of massage that they have learned, and would encourage all legislative processes to go through open dialogue and work for the best of the whole profession.
And I would say that AMTA has a robust government relations department, and they keep track of, sort of flags in states, and, help to address some of that with, their local chapter as well. So, if you have specific concerns, there are people in the back of the room that you can make sure that we get your name, and maybe we can, assist in some way.
Thank you.
Karen, did you have anything you wanted to add? I was just going to say, FSMTB doesn't, again, mandate or regulate the boards, but if your state board needs assistance, to please reach out to FSMTB. That's what we're there for, and we can help discuss best practices.
Thank you. Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you.
All right, and Mike? No, that's you.
James Marciano, or Rocky, I guess, but not Mike. I'm wondering who of you up there think that students are a key stakeholder group, and of those who think they are you including them in any real way in the discussion in terms of focus groups or meetings or interviews? Thank you.
Yes, we reach out to students quite a bit. We have a student case report contest that we talked about. Anytime we go to any of the meetings that, like state conferences or whatnot, that has a student day, we try and see, can we speak to the students and make sure that they're aware of the resources that we have and things like that. So we do with foundation.
From CompTIA perspective, yes, we very much value educating students, and so on our website, there's a whole section dedicated to students, educating them on the benefits of accreditation, differences of going to an accredited school versus an unaccredited school, and how to look for a good school for quality education.
We also participate in Student Day to inspire students to be lifelong learners through the tiering, as it were, that we described earlier, through licensure and then working up to board certification and enabling them to know that board certification is for everyone.
And we use them for focus groups on a pretty regular basis, and have a whole day dedicated to them at the National Convention as well to get feedback and what's useful to them in their education going forward, like in the first few years of their practice, what's helpful to them and what's not helpful.
I just want to add a quick follow-up from CompTIA. And MK, as a site visitor, just reminded me of this. Sometimes up here you kind of forget some of the most important points, but we also include student survey responses. When we go to schools and do our site visits, we interview students, we survey them to see, are the schools doing what they say they do? So we absolutely include them as well.
ABMP for literally 19 years has been visiting schools, and all the time, every time we're there, we seek to speak with students, and in most cases are able to arrange that. Partly as a result of some recent thinking about this how we've developed a new program called Student Life, which I briefly mentioned just as my time was running out earlier. It is a program that is specifically geared to students in enhancing their experience in schools. We're not trying to replace the value of the curriculum that schools provide, but rather to supplement that. And as an organization, we don't like to talk in detail about any program that we're going to do. We we like to talk about it after it is reality. But at this point, we are within 2 months of rolling this out. So any of you who are school owners or other constituencies there, keep your, don't just buzz the email off, look for that sometime around the middle of September.
Thank you. And now I think, let's see, that was James, so we're going to go back to Eric.
So as we look to raise the bar in massage therapy field, one of my fears is school is going to become really expensive. And that's going to mean that massage therapists need to make more money on the back end so that they can pay off their loans. And so I was looking at the AMTA research, or the AMTA industry report, and it said 15% of Americans have gotten a massage in the last 12 months. So I'd like to know from the two professional groups that are out there that are representing individual massage therapists, what are you doing on a national level to increase demand for our services?
Yes.
Do you want to take that on? This one is, it's a little bit of a stretch to talk about raising educational standards.
Well, as we raise educational standards, it's going to raise the cost of school. Teachers who are credentialed are going to want more money. We're going to release the hours, which are going to directly raise the tuition. And so on the back end, the massage therapists need to be able to pay for that. And again, 15% of Americans, we need to increase that. And I think one of the primary responsibilities of professional groups is to be able to do that. So I'd like to hear from the ABMP and the AMTA on if they're doing anything, what are they doing? And if not, what are the plans for the future?
You want to, I can start. All right, we're going to hear from, I'm not sure, a couple of other people. So,
You know, I obviously don't represent an organization that represents individuals. However, I can speak as a person who was involved with schools for many, many years. And, you know, I got 1,000 hours of education for about $4,200 in 1992. And that same education today is running somewhere around $16,000. You know what? The teachers aren't making any more money.
Thank you.
I know. We're not much more money. So I think that really, realistically, I mean, higher education is going up and up and up, and people are making the money as administrators. And so even though the cost of living is going up, I hear what you're saying, Eric, but I think that we can raise the standards in this field without it becoming a $20,000 8-month, 9-month certificate, or even a 1-year certificate. So I guess I would just think about that a little bit differently. But at the same time, if we start thinking about integrative practice and finding new venues for people to work in, to earn the money, I think that we don't, I'm turning myself into a circle here.
can't help you.
Yeah, I know. It's about the marketing, but I don't know that it's always I think the schools have to work on this too. I don't think it's just the professional organizations. It comes down to how you're recruiting people. What are you telling them? I mean, there's some nightmare stories out there, and that's why some schools are closing, because they're getting caught up in their nightmares. But I also know that the demand for massage therapists is not being fulfilled. Right? It just isn't. So I don't think that answers your question, Eric, but I obviously have an opinion.
Yeah, I'm going to invite Wayne to speak on behalf of the AFMTE. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. So with that question, what came to mind was, I'm not sure that raising standards necessarily equates to raising hours. There's so much that can be done to make sure that what's being taught is sound without raising hours.
So without having you ask that question again, so we do a lot of we've had a consumer ad campaign for the last 3 years that, hit thousands and thousands of consumers with the benefits of massage and why they need to get a massage. We also continue to, and I have them written just so that I can get them right, but we partnered with groups like the American Medical Association, the American Red Cross, the American Academy of Dermatology, the American Academy of Family Physicians, WebMD, and Health.com. And also the last, at least 2 years, the support to schools has been tremendous. Back to Jan's point, that's where I agree with her, that's where it has to start. But so I would say that that's what we've been doing over the past little while to really sort of let consumers know that where they can get a qualified massage therapist and just the benefits of massage, so that they go anywhere looking for a massage as well.
There's always been interest in the idea that there's going to be some massive consumer education campaign, and that's going to cause the light bulbs to come on and transform interest in this profession. And the closest that's probably happened to that is Massage Envy out there doing consumer advertising. When you see ads on the Today Show, that's pretty significant that they're using the power of now 1,000 locations to support that sort of activity. But it has not changed the statistic that Eric cites, which is roughly 15% of American adults each year have received at least one massage. We've been doing the surveys for years now, just as AMTA does, and the numbers come together fairly closely around that range. And that's led us to go back and say, we all have responsibility here. Part of it is to make sure that those people who do come have a quality experience. And that's what's led us into projects like what resulted in ELAC and other things. So we do all have a role in this, a stake in this, to make sure people have a good experience. One of the things we try to do with our members is to coach them in how to be more effective in asking for repeat business, because our surveys show that it's a modest proportion of someone's clients who generate a significant fraction of the overall revenue the individual therapist gets. And yet many of our members are deficient in terms of figuring out good mechanisms for checking back in a couple of days after a massage. How did it go? Would you like to rebook? Those kinds of things. So we try and work on that side as well as working on the raising quality side to make sure that people who are getting their first massage are more likely to have a good experience.
Thank you, Eric. It's your turn.
Hi, my name is Steve.
Oh, God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'd really like to move on because these folks have been waiting for some time.
Hi, my name is Steve. I'm the director of Zen Shiatsu Chicago. It's a shiatsu school in Evanston. And so my school is a 715-hour program exclusively in shiatsu therapy. So we've modeled the curriculum after COMTA standards for an APT program. So I'm excited to look at accreditation in the near future and improve curriculum. We teach the same knowledge base in Western sciences, pathology, professional development, clinical reasoning, and so forth, but the method that we're training people in is shiatsu as entry-level training. So they receive only technical training in shiatsu. But our graduates are perfectly clinically effective. We train students to be certified practitioner members of AOPTA. We prepare them to pass the MBLEX, and under the way that Illinois rules are structured, that also the education qualifies them for an Illinois massage license. So, And that's my vision. I mean, I'm a member of the Alliance for Massage Therapy Education now as a school member, and I'm really excited about joint environment where there can be joint licensing acts, joint research efforts, this sort of thing. Within that, I get a little nervous when I hear shiatsu talk about as a specialty, that an entry-level training would be something different and shiatsu would be on top of that. Because I want to make sure there's room for a program like mine where there's only one method taught, it's shiatsu, and that can be clinically used as the main knowledge base. So I guess I'd like to hear from you all if you all support this vision that there would be a legislative environment where a school could offer the same theoretical knowledge base but technical training just in an Asian bodywork method like shiatsu, and that someone could then enter the profession and be licensed with that training. And if you have any particular objections to that, I'd just like to know about it so I can have a conversation with you.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, go. Well, I'll just say on behalf of COMTA, we include massage and body work and aesthetics in our scope. So to us, body work includes shiatsu. So we would have no opposition to that.
And I would say we changed our bylaws to include the word massage and body work into our bylaws. So I wouldn't see any objection to that. Many times when you see someone who has been trained in classical Western massage or whatever you want to call that, clinical massage, they then go on and do continuing education or continuing professional development, and the specialty might be valuable to someone like that.
Wayne, do you have, sorry, go ahead, you can actually contribute more than I could at this time.
Yeah, it's a big topic for us. Yeah, so the reference to like shiatsu or Asian bodywork therapy is a specialty certainly got a red flag for me, because we are, that often happens. So in this community, often people are saying, well, the massage profession, massage and bodywork profession. The word modalities, I hate that word.
How many people hate that word?
Because for us, we're sitting here, we are a separate profession. We are an established, individual, highly defined profession. And to hear ourselves sort of relegated as a modality of something else really rubs the wrong way for us. And yet, here we are in this community where there is so much crossover. We have massage therapists getting some training in niche bodywork therapy, such as shiatsu. A lot of times that training might be just be a couple hours. And then what really rubs us the wrong way is when they go out there and say that they do shiatsu. It's like, well, no, you incorporate some shiatsu techniques into your Swedish massage practice, but you don't do shiatsu. That's, from our perspective, the appropriate way to talk about that. Licensing, yeah, our dream would be that there is fair licensing for massage and bodywork professions. That there is a model out there that allows for the different trainings of each of the professions. That we identify what's all in common between us, but then we also identify what is separate, what is different, and that those differences can be accounted for in regulation, and that licensing is allowed under those differences. But that's a dream. It's something we'd like to work towards as a community. I'd like you guys on.
I believe it is Karen.
Hello. Got a little bit of a quandary. See, I am one of these people that likes to go and take tests. So in the last few years, I've taken the former board exam or the national exam. I'm taking the NCLEX. And when I was taking those questions and going through those questions, and the question arose at our table earlier in the discussion, what happens if you get a test question that's clearly not an entry-level test question? How does that get reviewed? And this is obviously intended for the NCLEX at this point. How does that get reviewed? And is that something that we should be talking to the Federation about? I mean, is that something that we can get looked at? And I know a bit about how test questions are written. I took the NCB's test item writing question training back in 2012, I think it was, and revolutionized the way I think about tests. So that's one of the things we want to ask is what happens if the test questions that was the outside voice, whoever said that, are not appropriate. And
we're gonna, Karen, we can do one question, okay?
yeah, well, and this is, okay.
So the items go through a several steps before they ever reach the MLEX exam exactly. Now, I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to answer that question in detail. As a board member, I'm more involved in governance, but Mary O'Reilly is here with us this weekend. I don't want to, Mary, could you wave here in the back? Mary is our director of examinations, and Mary would be able to answer some of those questions a little bit more in detail. I'm sorry, but that, I can't answer that question, but I can tell you that each item goes through several steps before it reaches the actual test.
Right, thank you.
Thank you, Karen.
Carrie?
Hello. First I want to say, awesome. You have been great at increasing standards, helping schools, Bob, going to your early APMP forums and schools that, didn't have standards. You've done so much, each and every organization, each and every association, and you've been awesome. And this is my favorite part of the conference, is to have this panel. So now I have a question. With so much emphasis on the curriculum standards and the teachers' standards, and which has been great, but there seems to be a disconnect because the industry is contracting. The enrollments are down. Massage therapists, across the country, I know here in the Twin Cities, there's 400 to 500 job openings for massage therapists. And we heard this in the employer panel yesterday, and the employers in Minnesota are looking at starting 200-hour programs because there's no regulation here, just to get people to do a Swedish massage without having to go through our schools that are accredited, that have to teach, no, I don't want to say have to teach, want to teach a high quality curriculum, and we're very proud of it. But what's happening with the industry, and what do we do about it with the low enrollments and the big massage therapists and bodywork therapists shortage across the country?
Thank you, Karen.
So,
Sherilyn, you can answer that, right, in one sentence?
No, research, no.
There's not a simple one-sentence answer to your question, Perry, and you know it in advance. Just a little statistical perspective. Every 2 years, we do the best we can to pry out of school owners and directors data on their graduates for the previous year. Despite doing 6 and 7 calls if necessary, we still only get about 80% answer rate on that. So we project the rest of the schools from the sample we do get. Our data showed that as of last January, there are 1,247 massage programs, state-approved massage programs around the country, which would not count somebody doing 200 hours in a state that's not regulated. That's down 20% from the peak, which was over about well over 1,600. What's more damning is that back when we had the peak, the average number of students there was slightly over 50 per school. The average this time around in the survey was 28 and a half. The median was only 20 graduates for a school. So if you had 20 graduates in your school last year, you were right in the middle of the pack. That means half of the schools had fewer graduates than last year. I personally am not, while I much lament a few specific schools that have bit the dust along the way, I think in general it's been healthy that there has been some attrition. There was too much climbing on the bandwagon in 2000, 2005 with organizations that were professional providers of vocational training in many other fields saying, oh, massage is hot, let's slap together a massage program. And a good number of the ones who have gone by the wayside fell into that category. I would like to see some more of those schools disappear. The folks that are here today at this conference or similar forums, whether put on by AMTA or ABMP or whoever else, you're the conscientious folks who care about your programs and are about quality programs. You're not the problem. I'd like to see more of these other schools drop away so that you could end up getting more students in the quality programs that are out there. And I think that's part of the role of many of our organizations is spotlighting differences in quality organizations. And that speaks to standards. It speaks to things that the Alliance is trying to do in terms of tests. It speaks to what NCB-TMB is trying to do in terms of individual certifications, now trying to, with a new arrangement with LabTech, trying to reach out at the school level out there. So we all have a role in trying to do the right kind of leading so that we have quality programs and they get more students and they can thrive. That's how we're going to get to. We have this irony of certain segments of the profession not able to find people to come to work for them. And you heard that yesterday, those of you who were at the franchise meeting, I'm sure. But at the same time, we also have a number of our members who are saying, I'd like to find more work out there when we do that kind of survey.
I would also like to add that I think that, the competition has changed as well, and Pete was kind of pounding this morning on 21st century education. And I think that, massage schools need to start getting a little bit more innovative in how they deliver their education. There's been great resistance, although I see it sort of loosening up a little bit, to online education. There's no reason why some of these courses can't be taught that way. And if we're looking for adult students who have children and lives and jobs to do, who have limited time, but truly want something else in their lives, like massage therapy, then we need to find ways to accommodate them. Because there are many, many programs out there who do accommodate them. So the competition for people who want to be part of healthcare, and let's say, massage is considered part of healthcare, that we have to get more innovative. And the only schools that I see doing that with great gusto are community colleges, and partially because they already have the infrastructure for the online components, the delivery system. But it doesn't have to cost that much. There are ways to collaborate. Private schools, small schools getting together and doing a business course together or something like that. I mean, there has to be some innovation. And I think that would be one way to increase enrollment.
Karen, I believe one of the issues that you're talking about is that there's no licensure requirements in the state.
Well, that was just to, well, that's true, and we've tried every year for 20 years.
So I would just say and point that out as one of the many issues with this.
Right, but my bigger question is, it's that there aren't inquiries. It's not that we have too many schools. And yet, yes, that can be, but even 4 years ago, inquiries and enrollment was way up, but it's people inquiring into the profession that's way down. And Jan, that might be a piece of it, that our type of education isn't what people are looking for if it's all brick and mortar. I hear that. But even the inquiries are way down, and that's what I'm hearing from a lot of school owners. So I'm just wondering where we are with that as a group. I'd love to collaborate and figure out how to get the word out that this is a great profession. There are jobs available, and the education, it does not exceed what people make to be able to pay back their loans. That is, our gainful employment stats are good, you know. And so it's just a quandary that people are not enrolling in this profession, and is there something that we can all do together?
Thank you, Karen.
I think it's a great thought, and I think that as you're having cocktails tonight, that would be one of the best.
Okay, my statement to go across the past couple of questions is confidence, innovative confidence at every level is what makes the difference.
You need to speak up, please, Dale, and I'll also ask our questioners, please, to, let's get to the question.
It's on.
It was on, you just need to.
I'm not sure how much closer. How much closer? Okay. Given that confidence is what drives people toward us, and them feeling and functioning better is what happens in response to people who do the work at the level of competence that they need to have to make a living. And there are so many named therapeutic modalities out there, but at the same time, there are emerging ones. And I'm curious as to how one builds a bridge of being recognized into the field such that advanced certification may be assigned to it.
Thank you, that's I have some thoughts about that, but. Well, I'm not really a panel member, but maybe I can say something that might get one of you guys going. So, as a CE provider who, you know, has been in the position of trying to say, I have some valuable material, and by the way, I do have some valuable material. You know, but and it can be difficult to find a place to start. I think. If you're in a situation when you're doing it in a bricks and mortar kind of way, you need to really start with grassroots and start with local schools or local state chapters to build a reputation. What I am really, you know, and then that's what creates a more demand for your CEs if it's something that people are really getting excited about. But what I'm really curious about, and you know, I don't know if you're in a position to answer this at this point, but what is the difference between, say, having a really well-developed set of educational things about orthopedic work or about rehabilitative work, where you know you can give a certificate to people who have finished your courses. How do we bridge the gap between that and having a board certification in this specialty? What's the next step there? Is that maybe I've co-opted your question, Dale? That
it's in the ballpark. There are many named therapies.
Right.
The Bowen technique, the Alexander technique, no relation to me, you know, that we could speak to. And there are broad categories of myofascial technique taught by. But I'm curious if we have thought about that or how to consider that into the future, because we need new ideas. Innovation was one of the major words on that incompetence.
So my ears perked up because in your question is the word certification. So it seems like I should definitely have a very well articulated response to a fairly difficult conundrum that we have struggled with for at least a couple of decades. During those couple of decades, we've moved from the national certification in therapeutic massage and bodywork that required 500 hours. Don't throw eggs just because I'm saying 500 hours. I do believe in competency-based education, but we are still evolving in that way. So we are still measuring certain things in hours, but hours do not relate to quality, and a person could have 1,000 hours of one type of quality education and 100 hours of another. So there's a lot of different facets, but historically, we started off with a national certification, which is an entry-level credential that was then utilized for licensure and caused even more confusion, because licensure is one entity and certification is another. So then, to try and untangle all this spaghetti around these words, we rolled out the board certification as an advanced credential. Then on top of that, there are numerous fantastic educators who have certificate programs, which is another aspect. When we talk about national certification or board certification, we're talking about a credential that is validated, accredited, nationally recognized. When we talk about certificate, we're talking typically about an approved provider that can offer a certificate. There is no doubt that there is an incredible gap between the high quality education of certificates and our potential for the future to have board certifications as well as specialty certifications. So when I said earlier that, we want to hear from you, this is exactly the kind of dialogue that we need to have. It is not up to one person or one organization to simply fix all these problems. It is our collective responsibility to come together in forums like this. And for us, the National Certification Board, we are very open to find the answers so that we can serve our highest vision, our highest role, and bridge those gaps and offer potential certifications that will further us and meet the needs, many of which you've expressed in your question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, if I could just add, for the Society for Oncology Massage, as I said earlier, one of the things that we would be looking at is down the road developing competencies so that there could be some sort of specialty certification. And again, many of you have heard the terms little c and big C. So the little c is generally what continuing education providers would be giving and handing out, saying that you completed their course, met whatever standard they have set. The big C would be through the National Certification Board, because that is an accredited body. I spoke with one school owner earlier today, and a vision that I always had, in part coming from my nursing background, is a foundational massage therapy course, and then having the opportunity for massage therapists to go into specialty fields and have a specialty certification in those fields, be it sports massage, pregnancy massage, infant massage, oncology massage. And that may be a direction to go, but that is something for the schools to determine for themselves, if that is a direction they want to go, or in collaboration with others.
I guess we've traveled together, huh? Okay.
So we've had these conversations.
Yeah. So getting back.
And I just want to add to one thing, and it's really just an addition, which looks like we're missing the career path where someone could actually get a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, and a PhD. I understand, and that's not the norm. It's not what the expectation of a student coming out of a massage program is. And that could also be part of a pathway.
Because I've just made friends with you, and I really want to get back to Dale and pick up any questions.
Okay, so I'll try to make it quick. I heard the word innovation, and I'm going to throw something out that's pretty provocative. I have to wonder, because I'm not that familiar with massage therapy, my interpretation of my understanding is that it's Swedish massage based. I often find myself wondering, are there therapies that exist within massage therapy that it would make sense to do something like an AOBTA model, we call it our forms, where we're not just one form. You can call yourself a massage therapist under a number of different therapies, training, instead of just having like, for us it wouldn't work that macrobody shiatsu was the primary foundational form, and everything else was either an add-on. If you did Twina or you did acupressure, well, you'd still have to get your macrobiotic shiatsu training. That wouldn't work for us. It's like, what do we all have in common and what are the separate? So I find myself wondering in the massage therapy community, are there things that would qualify as separate forms or separate tracks that could be individualized and full-fledged? So it wouldn't just have to be massage or Swedish massage, it could also be something that's something that.
Ruth, I cannot stay silent a second longer. ELAP addressed this question in vapid detail. Can we just point out? Yeah, all right, okay. This is just, it's a resource. Sorry, ELAP, I apologize. ELAP addressed this question in the massage and bodywork section of the blueprint. And what they did was they removed form, style, system, modality language. And they looked at techniques that manipulate soft tissue, removing them from that world that we live in, which is so modality-based. It looked at shearing forces, torsion forces, gliding forces, and how those types of forces affect soft tissue structures. So when we're talking about this issue, there's been a huge amount of work that's been done looking at this, and it's controversial. I think a lot of people pass this by in the ELAP blueprint because they don't really have a context to understand it. It's very different than the way we've ever approached massage before. So I would encourage people to read that section, and if they have questions, they can contact anyone from any of the organizations who are on the work group to explain it. Thank you, I'm sorry, thank you for indulging me.
Thanks, Sam. So Dale, I don't know that we answered your question, but you certainly sparked a really interesting conversation. So thanks. The introduction of a new technique is always a big hurdle, that's for sure. Carol, thank you for your patience.
Sure. Actually, it's kind of, I'm going to piggyback a little bit with ELAP there in that it's been very encouraging, and I've been excited about the collaboration that happened through the ELAP. I think there's been a lot of wonderful work done with the competencies that we created through the Alliance. And my question is how each or whichever relevant organizations there are, how you are interacting with that document and that collaboration, and are you in some way considering or have implemented or have plans for the way we could use those competencies to improve education for all of us?
Carol? I'd love to address that question, and again, on behalf of CompTA, say that yes, we have, just with our new status, the CompTA endorsed curriculum, we aligned the ELAP outcomes with our core competency document. So we now have one document that shows the competencies and where they align with the ELAP outcomes. So we tied them together directly.
May I clarify? I was talking about the competencies for the teachers, the teacher competencies.
And the answer is yes to that too, Sharon.
Oh,
absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Chair. Anything else? Anything else from anybody? I thought you said Sharon because she's from New Orleans.
Her name is Carol.
Yes. Okay, thank you, Carol.
Okay.
Jason.
So within the last 2 years, I was approved as an NCBTMB CE provider. And in the process of going through the application, one of the things that it asked me to do was submit at least 5 references to cite sources and so forth. So I cited 5 sources and then attached another 22-page document with references for verification. But I was a little concerned because I also knew that the information that I'm drawing upon is updated. And so by the time my class had been approved, there was already some new information that had come out that I was already beginning to think, maybe I need to update my presentation a little bit. So I talked to someone at NCBTMB that was, and asked the question like, okay, so, I updated my class. What's the process that I have to go through to make sure that it's still approved? And I was informed at that time that there was none, that it was, it's going to be the same. And the person I spoke to said that there are many classes that had been approved more than 10 years prior and had never been looked at again since. So my concern and my question at the same time is this, is what is NCBTMB going to be taking steps to make sure that CE providers are updating their material to help advance, not to help advance education that's provided to those of us who are beyond our entry-level education, so that the continuing education that's out there is actually reflective of information and knowledge that is beyond where it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever you're drawing on. Whether that means introducing some sort of sunset clause saying, all classes are going to, if the class is approved, it's going to be, you have to resubmit it as of this amount of time and submit new sources, or what?
So thank you so much for your question. And that answer is going to come in two parts. I'm an approved provider myself, and inevitably with so much research that we've heard about, I think even my own maybe 20 classes, things are evolving that can be incorporated at every moment. What we are focusing on, we have over 2,000 providers. The average provider has 10 classes. We have a staff of 20 people and a small volunteer force. Those are not excuses, they are the facts. So in our evolution to increase standards, we are looking at the instructor qualifications as well as the quality of classes. You mentioned that you called NCB 2 years ago. Was that your last interaction?
That was the last time I spoke to someone about that aspect of having a class.
Well, you can speak to us today on all of your questions, because a lot has happened in the last 2 years. Specifically, a lot has happened in the last 18 months to completely transform the education. And as I mentioned before, our goal is to live to our highest role and mission. Our mission is to define and advance the highest standards. So I'm sorry that you had that interaction that may not have been optimal. And you may not be the only person in the room who had that situation. But I can say that we are here at this conference and we are well able and equipped with our staff as well as our board of directors to address your question in more detail and seek resolution. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jason. Okay, Regina.
My question goes out to the whole committee or the panel. And I have been a massage therapist, and I've been the director of the for the massage therapy program for a community college. And when I first started coming here, I had lots of colleagues that were from the community college. They have since closed programs because of enrollment. And what I find is that I'm almost like dumbing down to try to keep up with some of the things that are going on. My program was a quality and is a quality program, and we've had 100% pass rate for NCBTMB since inception, first time around. We've been accredited since 2005, and what happened was struggling. So my question, we also have student clinics. We've been doing outcome studies for 15 years. And my question is, I need some help for what are we doing to retain our community colleges? Because we do have standards. We have things, we're accredited by a higher education, but I'm watching my colleagues disappear and programs disappear And it's sad for me to see that, although I see great promise that's coming. I've been doing a lot of this stuff for years with my program, and I need some help wondering how can we retain some of the community colleges and help us with some of our struggles.
Well, as with many of the questions asked today, I don't know that there's a one-sentence answer to that, Regina, but I would certainly say from COMTA's perspective, a lot of that involves educating administrators at the community college level about the value of programmatic accreditation. And that specific programmatic accreditation status and the value that that would be to the program within the college. You know, and financials are certainly a consideration in that factor, I know at the administrative level, but there's a lot of continued education about the benefit of programmatic accreditation that certainly COMTA is committed to doing, and I know other colleagues here at the table are as well.
And I think that support would be hearing from the panel to our schools. I can do this by myself, but if they move with people from the outside looking in on them. And so if we had some support coming in saying these are things and going to my president of the college, then they would listen to that. They listen to me, okay, Virginia, your program is small. We have 5 other, campuses. And so I'm small compared to some of the other things that I'm competing against, the nursing program, some of the other things. So if they hear from the outside some of the things that we're doing, I think that helps, and that would help out with some of the other community colleges that I was very close to, but they needed some more support because I've been the only full-time faculty for 14 years. And so, and that's it, and I need so much more help. So they're not listening, but they would listen if other people would kind of put some pressure on them too.
I have a couple of concrete suggestions for you, Virginia. I'm going to make an assumption here that it is senior administrators at your community college or within the community college system of which your campus is a part who are making these decisions about which programs to keep and which not. Yesterday, there were reference to a meeting yesterday with several of the franchise organizations, all decrying the lack of sufficient numbers of graduates of programs that they can employ. I think they would be just delighted to prepare letters to the right administrator in your system talking about their unmet need for quality therapists and the fact you meet those needs. I would also ask you if you could give me your business card, and I'll be happy to put it in the hands of the person on our education staff who has your region, and we'd be happy to write the letter to the appropriate individual there or contact them in some other way. Because there is a tremendous unmet need out there, and you describe a program that is achieved at a high level in terms of preparing students, and it would be an absolute shame for that kind of program to go away when that's a real need of this economy.
The other part two to that is that my students, when they do graduate, most of the time they open up their own practice. I mean, they're private practitioners because our level of training, basically, they do not make the money that they should be making. I mean, when we have 1,100 hours of work, we have continuing education, we work on facilities before we even go out. We have lots of hands-on, and their level of training, it doesn't meet up with the demands of what's out there in the community also.
Thanks, Regina. It's a little bit of a different question, as you say. So, yes. We're going to go to Emmanuel now.
Thank you. My name is Emmanuel Vistas with the New School for Massage. We are a founding member of the Alliance. I've been members of AFMTE since the beginning, NCBTMD co-assigned school, and I volunteer my time with the licensing board in Illinois and with FSMTB. So I have great appreciation for the people up there, at least the people that I have met and worked with, and I appreciate the opportunity to ask this question. The question is related to money and scope of practice and healthcare. In addition to running the school and owning a clinic, I do consulting in the field of technology management, and I have worked with CBS recently, Eli Lilly before that, and most recently with a health insurance company. And I know firsthand that the cost of being part of the healthcare system are enormous. Cost of compliance, cost of protecting data. You can end up in jail if you do not protect your client's confidentiality. Something that does not happen if you forget your soap note somewhere, but it can happen if you're part of the healthcare system. So then there are other costs of working with insurance companies and trying to claim your money and fighting them, and having to get what is rightfully yours. So the way to fight that, the way to get over that, is that there is need for volume. Doctors work that because they can have like 15 patients at a time. They have the nurses, they have all the staff, and they are working like huge volumes. Chiropractors, and our director is a chiropractor, and do the same thing. They can have chiropractic assistants, massage therapists, people on electrostimulators, laser machines, and so on and so forth. PTs do the same thing.
And then, I'm sorry, can I get?
Yes, so the question is, massage therapists can only do so very little because they only have like this time that's allocated to them. Can we have meaningful inclusion in that? Yeah, you cannot work multiple people at the same time. So can we have meaningful inclusion in the healthcare system without a corresponding scope of practice change? And with the Model Practice Act, actually, if anything, we limited the scope of practice than many other states. So something has to give, and I don't know what's going to give. Any thoughts on that? So the question is, can we have meaningful inclusion in the healthcare system without a corresponding scope of practice change? Sorry for the long lead.
Are you advocating for an expanded scope of practice? I think we're a little confused about exactly what your question is.
No, my question is that, is it even possible to have inclusion in the healthcare system without, that is meaningful, where people earn more, that have greater career opportunities, that are equal to other healthcare professionals, without being able to do different things, such as, being able to use laser machines, being able to do more, prescribing exercises and doing other things? Can that happen even? Or are we just, talking about inclusion in healthcare?
I think yes. I don't know that we have to increase the scope of practice. I think that we need to be able to, and this is a repeat of what I said earlier, but we have to include teaching our students how to be team members, how to work in those environments. So yes, a lot of them want to go out and do their own thing, but there are many more who can't, because I understand that quality doesn't mean more hours, but I'm sorry, you can't teach people how to open a business in 20 hours. I mean, it's why we have such great recidivism in the self-care, or in the self-employment part of our profession. But I don't think we have to necessarily expand the scope of practice. We just have to teach people how to work in integrative practices, to be included, and encourage them to want to be included in healthcare. I think that's another lack. I don't think that we talk enough about the larger healthcare system.
Right, but the cost of being part of that will increase exponentially for massage therapists who are included in traditional health, in the healthcare system. So they have to be compensated more than the $15, $20, $30 that they're earning right now. And I don't see how that's possible given how the scope of practice is structured right now.
Well, I don't see why they have to be paid more. I mean, do they want to be paid more? Yes. Do I think they should be paid more? Yes. But are they going to be paid more? Probably not. You got to negotiate the cost. I mean, Cancer Treatment Centers of America, for-profit hospitals, there's 6 of them in the nation. They're pretty big. One of their vice presidents was at our last ACAC meeting. They employ people from complementary disciplines, not massage yet, but I have an appointment to go talk to her.
We have a massage therapist too.
There you go. Okay, so they, not all hospitals, but they do. Yes. Okay, have them at some of the, and what I'm trying to do is increase the number of staff then, but people are being employed, and I don't see, I'm not sure how cost is a factor, to tell you the truth.
Oh, and then Winona and then Karen, right? Oh, and then Lena.
So I think one of the issues is, and we've talked to several physicians about this, is that, you know, a lot of massage therapists want to get into healthcare, but they want to still keep making $85 an hour, and that's just not going to happen. So what you'll get is consistent work, and work that you're going to be doing the work that you love, and you're not going to be making as much as an RN, and you might not be making as much as an LPN, depending upon how many hours you come in with and what your background is, whether you've got a bachelor's degree or a master's. So I think that a lot of times, you know, we get out of our 1,000-hour programs, and we can charge, you know, I can charge $85 an hour. People pay me because I'm, you know, they feel like they're served by that. And then we want to get that same amount in a hospital, and we're not going to. So I think that I agree with Jane. It's not so much that we need to change the scope of practice. We just need to decide whether that's what we want to do. I mean, I think it's a decision, and whether you're qualified then to do it.
Erin and then Lena. I would just like to add, some of those therapies that you've mentioned are under regulation in certain states. So if a massage therapist wants to participate in those therapies, some of that will depend on the state law or their rules.
I would just like to clarify the comment on Cancer Treatment Centers of America. So the Zion, Illinois flagship Cancer Treatment Centers of America hospital does employ 3.5 full-time equivalent massage therapists, and 5 massage therapists they are too. Because we met them last week to be part of. Also, they are really looking at, so they have 3 full-time with benefits, very happy massage therapists as far as I can tell. I went with Donna Savella, a Vice President of Educational Support, and she can verify that too. And they are really looking at how to expand massage therapy in Philadelphia, Oklahoma, and their other locations. So I didn't want anyone to leave here today without knowing that, because I think that's a very critical part of our evolution.
Okay, you have 30 seconds.
And they're not the only group that hires massage therapists in a hospital setting. As I spoke earlier, I am part of the hospital-based massage therapy work group with ACAC. We surveyed a large number of hospitals, and we've had others come forward saying that they have massage therapy programs. So it is possible. For S4OM, we have massage therapists employed in infusion centers and other places within the healthcare system.
Okay.
The scope of practice is state to state and is decided legislatively.
Thank you. And thank you, Emmanuel, for a great question. We have 10 minutes left with our time together. We have 3 people waiting to ask a question. I'd like to get at least 2 of those in if we can. So are you guys like together? Because I see you switch places a couple of times. All right.
I like to dance.
Okay, so let's hear from Martha and let's get to the question. And then let's try to answer it succinctly so that we can also hear from Kate, and then Diana, I'll invite you to come and talk to whoever you need to.
Hi, mine's just not a question, it's just a plug.
Then I'm gonna ask you to wait.
It's for the session that's tomorrow afternoon, and answers some of the questions.
What is the session tomorrow afternoon?
Collaborating to increase enrollment, tomorrow afternoon, 4 o'clock.
Thank you. All right.
So we've heard a number of people mention increasing quality of education. We know that inconsistent quality of education is a big problem for massage therapy right now. My question is, given that most other healthcare professions have moved to competency-based educational standards, I know that the Alliance has developed teacher competency standards, and CompTA has, for a very long time now, used competency-based standards. What are the other organizations here doing to move towards competency-based education? Thank you.
Go for it.
Someday we're actually having a AOBTA sponsoring a competency-based curriculum development workshop. It's open to anybody. we're starting to take a look at it. You know, what would it mean for our profession, and what's it look like, what's it involve, and how does it affect our educators?
For SFRM, we have a work group that's going to be working on competencies for oncology massage.
Thank you. AMTA doesn't create curriculum, we support ELAB, AMTA, and TV, and, you know, the profession. So that's what we can.
Do you want it on the way? Okay. So one clarification, that I think that we use the phrase competency-based education, and I'm not sure that that's really what we do. I think it's outcome-based. Outcome-based is pretty different. I mean, the Department of Education has only approved maybe 3 universities to truly do competency-based education. And I do think that we have, I think ELAB is outcome-based. That's what they started with. And I think that we use the word competency for CompTIA, but I remember when we were working on those competencies, there was a huge discussion about competency, outcome. And the only reason we really wound up with competency, because most of us thought they were outcomes, was that our person at the Department of Education said, oh, use competencies, it's coming down the line. So there's a, I would say it's not really a fine line. There's a very distinct difference. And I think really what we're talking about in massage therapy education is outcome-based. It's my opinion.
Thank you. Well, guess what, Megan? I get to say something. So I just want to say thank you to everyone. I think these opportunities are amazing for everyone to learn and get clarity on what's really happening in the profession. So the question would be is, what are the next steps? This is a dialogue with you on a panel. I found some great opportunities when we're sitting around the table talking about specific concerns, like the ELAB. You know, ELAB, let's have comments on it, and it's out there for us to read on our computers, but what if we get a group of people? What if there's funding through one of the organizations where you get students and actually members and some of our clients to talk about what does that really mean? Is that a potential for next steps with this group?
Are you talking about all together?
In general, bringing it together for the profession, how is this going to move forward? What's the next step? It's great to hear things, but if it just stays here and nothing happens, then
I know for us, for OM, we'll be taking some of this to our summit, which is going to be next April, right down the road in Bloomington. I invite anyone here who's interested in learning more about oncology massage to join us and bring your ideas as well that are coming from here.
Yeah, I was just actually going to say the same thing as MK, that I'm taking as much away from this as I hope the audience is as well, in terms of what are those next steps, and just exploring that question from every direction. Coalition members, you know, we are intending to have an in-person meeting, and I'm sure this dialogue will be continued. So I have thoroughly appreciated this opportunity as well to learn and share. So thank you.
I would add to that something I mentioned in passing. 3.5 years ago, 7 national organizations came together and formed what's now called Coalition of National Massage Therapy Organizations. Those organizations actually were getting together for 7 a.m. breakfast tomorrow. And one of the perhaps central items of discussion is trying to resolve a date when we will have our next meeting. And it's about time to reprioritize our agenda. We did set an initial agenda back in September of 2011. And the whole ELAB project was a central result of that effort. And I think we all kind of took a deep breath and lost a little steam on the effort. But this is the sort of dialogue that fuels a fresh agenda. And there is an existing forum and organization that can come together around these questions. And it's very much on an equal basis, all these national organizations working together. So we'll see what emerges, but I think this whole Congress informs an array of issues that are there to be talked about.
Thank you. It's 5:27. Jason, I'm sorry, we're gonna.
So, Jason, I would welcome you to come up and talk to us personally. Some of us have to go to the restroom. Hold on. I wanted to acknowledge Wayne because there is an activity on Sunday that all of you are invited to. If you are not leaving till Sunday or Sunday afternoon, please make the time to come to that event. Also, it is time for cocktails. This is sponsored by Massage Envy, and we want to thank all of you. What a great day in the Twin Cities.
And Pete, I would like to add a thanks to Ruth for stepping in so.
Very much my pleasure, and I will take home your love to Tracy.
And one more thing that's happening this evening during the reception is a fundraiser for the Massage Therapy Foundation and Chair Massage. So please make sure to come give a donation. Get your 25-year pin.
Thank you.